This is a Teisco Del Rey EV-2T. Can you imagine Kurt Cobain playing one of these? He supposedly did in 1985. Recently, an EV-2T that was reportedly played and signed by Kurt was sold at auction for $120,000. The story goes that this guitar was owned by a man named Johnny Cooper. He states that he jammed a lot with Kurt, and that in 1985, while Kurt stayed at his apartment in Olympia, he jammed on the Teisco, carved the word "sick" into the bottom of it, and signed the back. This auction and story was really making the rounds for a few weeks, and I saw that people are split 50-50 whether they believe this story or not. I get that it's hard to imagine Kurt Cobain playing such a quirky instrument, but it kind of reminded me of Kurt's Hagstrom Deluxe that Ernie Bailey auctioned off a few years ago. Kurt may have had a taste for weird, off-the-wall guitars that we are not fully aware of, and these two may be giving us a glimpse into that side of his taste. I'm not playing the exact guitar from the auction, I just want to clear that up right away. This is the same exact model that I actually just borrowed for a little bit. This was purchased by Chris of chrisstore.com. He lives in France. The seller was in New York and didn't feel comfortable shipping internationally. Chris asked me if he could have the seller ship it to me and then I would ship it out to him, and he was generous enough to say I could keep it for a few days to make a video about it. It's an interesting and different guitar, to say the least. It even came with the original case. It's from the 60s, and it has a pretty retro, tear-shaped body. It makes it challenging to play sitting down. I imagine that it's kind of like a flying V. It was more meant to be played standing up. It's got two single-coil pickups, and an on-off switch for each one, a big whammy bar, a volume and tone knob, and an RS switch. I'm not 100% sure what this switch does, because during my time with the guitar, it wasn't working. I received it in pretty rough condition. The strings felt like they were 20 years old. The tuners were very stiff and hard to turn. It was covered in dust, and the bridge pickup was very spotty. It'd only work after exercising its switch. Chris is an excellent tech, so I know that once this is in his hands, he'll fully restore it and bring it back to life. By the time this video is out, I no longer have this guitar, and it's in its rightful home in France. The intonation was pretty off, and it didn't stay in tune very well, but nonetheless, I made the most of my time with it and did have some fun. I found that you can get some pretty cool surf-style cleans, especially when turning up the reverb. But you are seeing this video on my channel because it has a connection to Kurt Cobain, and since I had it, I just had to put it through some distortion pedals to try out some Nirvana riffs, just to see what would come out. I personally think distortion didn't really suit this guitar. The DS1 sounded okay, but I didn't care for how it sounded through the others. The guitar, again, really shines with reverb-drenched cleans.